This is a win CLG fans can be very, very happy about.
And Cloud9 takes down Echo Fox.
The battle for second place, it's still really close. One loss can just basically mean you're not going to get second place anymore. Last year in Spring Split, actually, exact same thing happened, and we lost a tiebreaker.
Gets a bye in the playoff.
We got to make sure we win today, get that 2-0, get that bye for Vegas.
Because we got the win against Equifox, that means we're tied against CLGs. Both we and CLG win. We are going to end up in a tiebreaker against CLG. And honestly, I'm feeling pretty confident going up against CLG. I think we have stronger laners. I think we'll win convincingly.
It's a very real threat on our minds. It's a pretty scary time in NA LCS.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2016 North American LCS. We're coming to you live from our studio in Los Angeles, California, to bring you the final day of the LCS Spring Split regular season. Earlier this morning, fans outside were hyped and energized to support their favorite teams. And here you can see Keith and Froggen showing their love for the fans, cheering them on. They're going to be going up against Renegades in our first game of the day, who you can see here entering the studio just a short time ago. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm James Dash Patterson, and on the analyst desk with me is Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler and Joshua Jat Leesman. Gentlemen, we made it to the end of the regular season.
We did.
We did it.
And the question will be whether we have like twice as many games as we were expecting.
Yeah. Right. We could have.
We made it to the end of the scheduled games.
Exactly. We could have up to 10 tiebreakers today. We'll get into all of those scenarios. Before we do so, let's see how the teams are stacked up heading into the final day of play. Immortals is in first place with Cloud9 and CounterLogic Gaming jockeying for second place and a first round bye. TSM and Liquid are currently tied for fourth, and we have Energy in sixth to complete our playoff picture. Echo Fox is safe from the promotion tournament in seventh place, followed by Team Impulse in eighth, while Team Dignitas and Renegades are tied at ninth. Now let's take a look at all of today's matchups. To start off the day, Renegades will go up against Echo Fox, followed by Liquid versus Cloud9. Then Team Impulse faces off against Immortals in Game 3, and afterwards CLG battles Team Dignitas before TSM and Energy Esports close out the day. Before we head into our discussion, let's recap what these teams will be playing for in the postseason. Championship points, the all-important championship points. First place team awarded 90, sixth place 10. Fill it in between the gaps.
Really? You're not going to read the whole graphic?
90, 70, 30, 10, 10.
Dash.
I did it. I just did it. I got it. Nailed it.
What about their 7th to 10th place teams?
0.
Okay.
There it is. Jat, do you understand?
Also, they could get kicked out.
Oh, depending on the promotion tournament.
Yes. So let's discuss the most relevant tiebreaker scenarios that we could see today. Cloud9 and CounterLogic Gaming are currently tied for second. So if both teams win today, we will have a tiebreaker for that first round playoff bye.
Woo! That is the one that I want to see, right?
Yep.
Because both CLG and Cloud9 won the games yesterday, but now it's time to pick on someone your own size. The two second-place teams going at each other in a tiebreaker would be an exciting way to end the day, I think.
The last time Cloud9 played CLG, that was a fantastic game. And as you mentioned, it would be kind of a callback to last year's Spring Split when CLG ended up losing that game and then fell right out of the playoffs. So if they get that tiebreaker game, not only should it be a good game, it'll also be incredibly important for the future of the teams in the spring playoffs.
Yeah, plus, you win one game in the tiebreaker, then you don't have to play a whole best-of series for playoffs. So
one game is basically worth 3 wins at that point.
Yes, very much so. Well, that scenario would involve Liquid losing to Cloud9, which could set us up for a 3-way tie between Liquid, Energy, and TSM, pending an Energy win versus TSM at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's a pretty crazy scenario, too, because the difference between 4th seed and 6th seed is pretty vast when you consider the big difference between the CLG and Cloud9 and then the rest of the pack. And based on the way TSM was playing yesterday, Energy also wasn't playing that great, but those upsets are not like way too far out of the realm of realisticness.
Right, getting 6th place means you play the loser of the Cloud9 CLG matchup, but either way, that's not a team you want to play in the first round. And also considering dynamic seeding, if you can get up to that 4th place, you have a better chance of dodging Immortals in the second round of the playoffs. So very important in that race there in the top 6. So we have our teams, our 6 teams that are fighting over playoff seeding, but we have a similar situation on the bottom side of the standings. We have 3 teams that that are looking to improve their odds moving into the promotion tournament. Now, under the assumption that Immortals win over Team Impulse, a win by either Renegades or Dignitas forces a tie. And a three-way tie would exist if they both win. So we could have another very big set of games there to determine how these teams enter the promotion tournament and fight for their LCS lives.
And that's a really big one, too, because the 10th place team has to play an extra series. Plus, Apex, one of the challenger team that got first place, is looking a lot more scary than any of the other challenger teams, TDK included.
Yeah, also looking at the challenger bracket, like this is just a visual example of how bad it is to get 10th versus getting 9th or 8th. I don't think there's too much difference between 9th and 8th aside from the Apex game, because even if they lose to Apex, they'd still get another chance because it's double elimination after match 1 in this bracket. And the way this happens is if Team Dignitas beats CLG. That's when we get the crazy triple tiebreaker, which we'd say shouldn't happen, but we also said it shouldn't happen in week 1 after CLG opened the season beating TSM and then Team Dignitas beat them. So it's well within the realm of possibilities that we actually get this three-way tie for 8th.
We also say it shouldn't happen, and Dignitas had tremendous gold leads last week, so it's not like this team isn't able to put themselves in a position to win. It'll just be a question of whether or not they can close out that victory today if they establish the lead.
Yeah, I look for the biggest number of ties. 10 is the maximum, and that would require, if we start with the first game, Renegades beating Echo Fox, and that would put Renegades into a better spot to try and get one of those tiebreakers to move out of 10th place.
Yeah, the absolute craziest scenario is 2 three-way ties, which is a maximum number of 10 games. And that would happen, if people are curious at home, if we get Renegades, Cloud9, Immortals, COG, and Energy all winning their games. Then we have a max number of 10.
Alrighty. There you have it. If you're a fan of tiebreakers, you know who to be rooting for. There's a very high likelihood, though, that we will have some extra games today regardless, so be sure to stick around after our 5 scheduled matches. Now, we've had some great performances in the spring split, but there can only be one MVP. So for our social media question of the day, we want you to submit your nominations from home. Who is your regular season spring split MVP and why? Tweet your answers to @LOL Esports, and we'll review some of your picks later in the show. That's going to do it from us here at the Analyst Desk. Let's check in with the guys at the Caster Desk to get us into the games.
Thank you very much, Dash. Welcome, everybody, to this side of the world. I'm Riving the Biz III, and sharing the stage with me is going to be the talented, very beautiful Aiden Zyrene.
Aw, you're pretty beautiful yourself, Riv.
Thank you.
But no, we got to get into these games. I can't get distracted.
Absolutely. We've got game 1 coming right up after Dash explained everything. It's Renegades taking on Echo Fox. And you heard it on the desk. Renegades has improved since adjusting their roster in week 7, winning 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah, and keep in mind, coming into week 7, this team only had 1 win. So of their 4 wins, 3 of them have been in their most recent games, causing a surge in the bottom of the standings that took everybody by surprise.
Yep.
And now Renegades are looking for a win here against Echo Fox to put themselves in a better position heading into the promotion tournament. A victory here will set Renegades up for a tiebreaker and puts them within striking distance of an 8th place finish, where they were in 10th pretty much 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But with a loss, Renegades could still be tied with Team Dignitas. So regardless of the outcome of this game, they should be preparing for a potential tiebreaker later in the day.
That's right. You can see Crumbs on the screen giving some love to the fans. On the other hand, as we have to talk about Echo Fox, they are locked into 7th place. Regardless of the outcome of this game, they're kind of playing for bragging rights here.
Yeah, and since Echo Fox won't be playing in the playoffs or the promotion tournament, this is our last chance to see the team in action until the summer split picks up in June. And despite Echo Fox not having anything to prove in the standings, they still want to end the season with a win and prove to the fans that their record is not an accurate representation of their potential.
That's right. We'll have to see, wait and see what Echo Fox brings to the table, because according to Hard, Echo Fox is looking to evolve their play style.
I think as of now, we're trying to go towards being able to play off everybody's strengths. Say we have a strong bot lane, we want to be able to play with the strong bot lane, vice versa if we have a strong top lane. But as of now, it seems our style's kind of around Froggen. We usually try to help him out the most we can, and the other majority of the time we try to help out our top laner, because they seem to be the ones being able to win us team fights, carry the games.
And it's definitely true, especially from a statistics standpoint. Froggen leads the entire league in kill participation at almost 90%, 89.7.
Well, see how dirty he gets his hands today. Let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it is going to be Renegades. That's Seraph in the top lane, Crumbs in the jungle, Ninja in mid, Freeze at 80 carry with Hakuo at support, and Coach Hermes.
And on the red side, it's Echo Fox. In the top lane, KFO. In the jungle, Hard. Froggen in mid lane, Keith at 80 carry. Big on support, and Coach Kopp behind him. And
it's great that coming out of that last video, going back to it, that Hard identifies that it's kind of Froggen that participates in everything. We were talking about this a little before we got the desk came to us, and it's that he participates in it all because they're pushed up to their base. That's when the fights happen. It kind of seems like Echo Fox takes their time until they can get to that point, or are usually pushed to that point. But if Hard can do what he's saying with the team, and they can use a strong bot lane, they can use the other lanes and put their foot forward first, then they won't always be playing from behind.
Yeah, and a big thing about them continuing to play through Froggen, he was talking about finding ways to play through other lanes. Froggen does lead the entire league in kill participation, but in terms of mid lane kill participation, Ninja is number 2 at 82%. So these are the 2 highest kill participation mids in the entire league. This guy just got in here. Exactly. He's played about 5 games total.
Right. With Froggen's hitting his season kind of. Oh, Seraph is, sorry.
Yeah. Well, Seraph, this is his 9th game, so he's actually played half an LCS season today.
Looking at him, preparing for the last one that he'll be 4-13 as they make their way into Champion Select.
These are going by fast.
Lulu would be the first lock-in for these guys, and they, go by quite quickly there. Echo Fox wasting no time with their 3 bans as well. Looking at the bottom, Kale does get hit up on KFO. Like Graves, Nidalee, Kalista, a lot of power picks there.
Yeah, even though Kale was not banned yesterday, KFO didn't pick it. But, of course, Echo Fox, they have nothing to play for in the standing, so if it was left up, I assume KFO would try to have some fun with that. In terms of what's left up here, we see a lot of those typical bans. Corki's still on the table for Froggen, and he's been loving that champion.
Smiles on the members of Echo Fox here as they take their time in Champion Select. Kopp always, as I was talking with Jat yesterday, we were mentioning the flex picks always come in for these guys, so expect to see that Corki, maybe even the Trundle once again. But do they just lock it in? Do they go for that evolution, the aggression that they're looking for out of the team? The Jin Morgana pickup, 1-2 for Echo Fox.
They watched Cloud9's game yesterday. They're just like, this bottom lane worked. High 9-0 on Morgana, but Big will be playing it today.
I actually did like that synergy. Either the binding or the soul shackle to keep him in range for the curtain call is really great.
Yeah, well also, it's double binding. So if the binding lands, you immediately are able to get the... it always messes me up. I believe it's the captive audience. No, captive audience is the E. Everybody's talking about swapping the names on these things. It's, oh no! It's gonna throw me off so bad.
You'll get it in game.
Yeah, I'll remember it.
I'll
remember it in a moment.
Recall it, so I'm not gonna try. Corki could go to the wayside here for Echo Fox. They feel like that Jin Morg was the kind of priority pickup. We'll see if Keith and Big can actually make an impact this game.
It's Deadly Flourish.
Yes. Good job. As soon as I started talking, you were going to get it. You needed a breathe moment. Crumbs, Gragas, Ninja takes the Corki, so selecting for themselves there most likely. But that Lulu stays in Seraph's hands, or Freeze takes Corki. Still some options here for Renegades. The flexes are with them this game.
Yeah, Renegades, they did have the Lulu top yesterday, and
who we've seen banned quite a bit, like almost all the time.
Well, Lulu is actually falling off in terms of priority. There's actually, in terms of presence, Azir, Gragas, Poppy, Corki, Nidalee, and Kalista are all way more present than Lulu is right now.
Yeah.
And people are just letting her through the pick ban phase in favor of these other champions like Graves and NA, who's been doing so well. But Seraph did play this yesterday, went 2-2 and 20 on it in the top lane. But once again, it is a flex, and Ninja taking away the Corki from Froggen, which he's seen so much success on.
The Titan of the Depths and the Lee Sin get locked in. So they're not lying. They're definitely spelling some aggression here. A change in the lock-ins for Echo Fox say, we're going forward.
Yeah, a lot of engage.
Playing strong on this one.
There's a lot of engage on this team composition from Fox. Jin is also, in my opinion, an engage AD carry. He's pretty much on Ash tier of engage. You pull down the curtain call and you just slow people. I believe 4 times 90% slow. Don't know if that actually went through as the amount, but it is incredibly powerful for getting engages and catching out compositions that don't want to be caught. And Renegades are making a composition of that kind.
Yeah.
If they go double AD carry Lulu.
That's what we saw a little bit yesterday, as you were saying with Cloud9. Towards the end of the game when they said, oh, we have them out of base, let's initiate with curtain call, and we'll find that pick. So lock-in is going to be Sivir Trundle on the other side. Seeing Freeze take that means they have a bit more mobility, utility to get themselves in and out of what could be some scary engages from Echo Fox. What will the lock-in be? Froggen here to round out the picks. the guy who says, just hang on, I can carry the game, really gives the team a lot of confidence in situations where they're behind. What will Froggen have this game?
It's going to need some wave clear here and something that can deal
Unless that Nautilus is his.
It's possible. It's possible. But this is 6.5 Nautilus.
Right.
He has seen the nerfs. He'll be up against, it could be a Trundle top, it could be a Lulu support. The Trundle support will shred the Nautilus in team fights and make the support worth even more in terms of effective gold. Let's see here for Froggen.
Tank Arena.
That would be interesting. Echo Fox locked into 7th place.
There's not much crowd control. He gets, what, like,
Linseed
and then knocked up? Big feels bad about it. He was like, I feel bad about doing this. The Lux gets locked in. I'm happy with that pick. They're booing. I like it. It's a good one. We're going to see some final sparks this game.
All right, so the Lux is going to be the wave clear that they desire.
Yeah.
Multiple bindings. Everybody on this team, except for the Lee Sin, is able to root somebody in some way, shape, and form. So Fox has a lot of pick potential. They have decent siege, except for the kind of the Jin taking turrets is really rough. But getting the enemy team underneath their turrets, they have to keep dodging so many skill shots. So Renegades are going to have to be on their toes. Luckily, they have a lot of movement speed increases and ways to keep people away from them with disengage with Trundle Pillars, as well as Lulu and the Gragasol team.
Really a very similar composition to what we saw yesterday. Moon feeling like, or I'm sorry, Crumbs feeling like he wanted to play the Gragas over the Elise from what they had. And instead of the Varus mid, it's a Corki mid. So you're almost looking at basically the same composition. Renegades feeling very good after the win over Impulse yesterday. Echo Fox coming off that very tough game on Cloud9. So they're looking for that last ounce, the last bit to get themselves through the spring split. Still in 7th, so they can just go for the bragging rights, as we said. Before we load into the game, let us know who you think is going to take this cake. Tweet at LOL Esports with the hashtag REN win or the hashtag FOX win. Show your support, and we'll tally those up, as always, on our way into game. Let's see. That Jin Morgana comp, we'll see if Morgana, Keith and Big, I should say, can go hard. If they get the lane matchup and they choose to do it from the get-go. Echo Fox has always been kind of a quiet team in the early game. Snooze in, hit the snooze button, and then they wake up.
Yeah, and talking about this Morgana and Jin bot lane, Cloud9 played it yesterday against Echo Fox. So Echo Fox are picking up the bottom lane that crushed them yesterday and forced their Sivir and Janet to go 0-8-0 combined. So it was up against the Sivir, different support here, but same AD carry versus the same bot lane that Fox had to play yesterday.
To Summoner's Rift.
Well, thank you. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, everybody. Where do they decide for here? Line of scrimmage, actually, very respectable. Usually some deep words for the last many games. So it should be a few walk-ins, just a little late here, but they're getting eyes on members of each team.
Be interesting to see what Fox do with the combination of the double binds with the Jin and the Morgana, because invading with these two champions is very potent. You have a lot of lockdown at level 1, and you can get to that crit, and then the movement speed increase from the Jin, and basically get a flash at that point. So they're not going to go for it, and the fact that there's no blind invade to get lane swap wards down is a little concerning, because Renegades, they're going to have to know what the matchup is like with Sivir Trundle versus Jin Morgana, which is something that may not see too much practice in scrims.
Maybe they'll be the next ones to say, all right, we're running it next game.
They might blind swap.
Happen to Keith and Big. Okay. They're headed towards that top side.
They are going.
That's what they'll hold.
They're going to get spotted on this ward, though. So Trundle and Sivir both cross a ward. And this is immediately going to be the invade here by Jin. And Morgana actually split there, so a little bit risky, but they're going to cover both camps. So Fox are actually doing something very interesting, where Morgana is going to check the Raptor camp, and Jin goes to check on the Krugs. So no matter what, they walk by and find out where the jungler start was and stop a camp.
Oh, a little grab as well, taking the small XP from the red buff. Shouldn't do too much, but they still get quite a bit in the update a while ago. The push goes down. You see Big looking around, see if he can cause any trouble, but it's already the top side. Actually, it was Raptors and then head towards the top for Crumbs.
Yeah.
So they actually avoid Big in any of that nonsense.
They get to start on their weak side. Fox, I believe they hid. Check it here. Yeah, so what happened was they knew that Freeze and Hakuho were coming into their jungle, so they walked all the way to their tier 2 turret because they had spotted them with that river ward, and then as soon as they left the jungle, they walked back in and they got their red buff. You usually do not get this buff, and what's going to happen here is Fox may get to triple buff on Renegades.
Hard's already moving himself over. We'll see what the next moves are for him on after his wolves. Down to the bot turret. It's going to be a little bit late, but they do have 3 members as opposed to the 2 up top. Blue has just been grabbed by Crumbs, and he's going to actually make his way to Scuttle, so the damage in the top lane helping out because they can have frozen waste. Actually, Seraph's there. I'm a liar. He was hiding under the coin.
Very fast turret push
Yep,
to the top
there's Hard.
side. Yep, Hard's going immediately from red to red, and this is where Crumbs finds out that his red is gone.
Right.
Well, what should be his red in a lane swap.
This was mine, but no longer. Knowing the timing of what would have happened towards the Krug side, he can stay there for a bit of experience, but definitely not as much as he wanted. Hard and a very good start here, and he may actually be able to make something work. Too dangerous, though, in the mid lane, as Froggen has consistently kept this pushed up about 75%.
This is actually quite concerning. The bottom turret did not go down for Echo Fox, so Renegades are actually up 1,000 gold just off of that turret take. This turret in the bot side was not actually...
Yeah, this is scramble mode now.
The mini wave was not stacked properly. They didn't take the turret. Both AD carries back for Cull. So now it's a 2-on-2 and back to farming. KFO, though, he may get a free farm lane, but the question is, how much is that experience and gold going to be worth with this 1,000 gold deficit? And when will Fox pick up this turret to try and equalize it?
Well, Seraph, he is a playmaker, so if his lane's already open, you can expect to see him tagging onto other lanes, getting a snowball going and helping. Right now, just denying a bit. But Fox definitely have to do a little bit of work now that they are down so much. Hakuo and Freeze happy to farm this one out, knowing they have a lead on the other side of the map. Crumbs will pressure that a little bit on the bottom here. Looks like it's just for vision to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, auto attacks and the bounces from Freeze. And Crumbs invading the jungle here, we'll see. But he's just scouting at this point, trying to pick up what he can. That top lane is probably where the next piece of action is going to happen. You can see Hard walking into this lane here. And Seraph has to back off. So when a gigantic wave is stacking up like that and you see the top laner shoving it in, top laners usually don't want to hard shove waves unless they have reinforcements. And then it goes for a turret dive. They're able to dive Seraph here with this gigantic wave. And Seraph doesn't have his jungler on this side. Crumbs is on the opposite side of the jungle.
They just pinged off a Rift Herald. Actually, they're safe play. Okay. They're going for the safe play.
All right. I can't fault him for it, but
right.
Luckily Seraph picks up all of that CS. If he got killed and that CS was gone, he'd have to blow his teleport, and he's effectively out of the game for pretty much 10 minutes.
Oh no, they're all at the worst spot for Lulu to be farming right now. Has to help picks on that one. It dies, so can't help for an extra glitter lance. He should be okay. Picks him up, but 22 to 15 and leaving the lane. Still being up in CS is great for KFO. Rift Herald goes over to Hard. He continues to have that constant pressure, and he will be flying through the jungle now. Mid lane 49 to 49. Not too much going on there just yet. We haven't even seen too much jungle pressure.
Super even. And Ninja took cleanse to deal with all of the binds on Fox, and his wave is actually going to have to get held here by Crumbs.
So if there kind of was the correct move to make, if you don't take the turret down and the other team does, what is kind of your first course of action if you haven't dropped that turret in the swap?
Yeah, if you haven't dropped that turret in the swap, you stop thinking about how to fix it for next time. You start thinking about what you need to do, and you can either lane swap it back and you can just have your AD carry and support push top, and then you try to trade 2 turrets for 1.
All right.
And of course you get the 1 turret, and then you open up the map more and try to make plays that way. Or you swap it back like this, you cut your losses, and you just say, all right, they get 1,000 gold on us, and we just have to play the laning phase now and hopefully get a good fight later. This is what they have to do.
Here's a bit of a play that could help.
Froggen on the other side.
Getting Seraph off the map will definitely be quite useful. Froggen, he now has to start fighting Ninja in the mid, so that peels away.
Froggen almost has ulti.
Control. Seraph getting a bit of a sidestep there. You're going to have a few more seconds for Sonic Wave. Crumbs comes in.
Oh!
The final spark! It was just the tip, but it was just enough.
And it had just come off of cooldown as well. Froggen had used it previously for wave clear, and he keeps in pursuit, waiting for that cooldown to come off. Well executed there by Fox.
That looked like it was just out of range. Froggen knew what he was working with. 11.6 to 11.3 now. The turret's still giving Renegades a bit of a gold lead, but like you said, getting somebody off the map relieves a lot of the pressure they need. Seraph still has teleport to come back, but we'll watch this once again. Froggen fighting back and forth. He's like, you can't freeze me, you can't stun me, so I'm gonna just fire off the
Yeah, this is actually on Ninja, because Hard is going off to the left side. Ninja is trying to reinforce them as 3 to 3-on-1 Hard instead of zoning Froggen. He could have just
he backed
fought
off and bounced
Froggen
over, right,
and pushed him away from the range, because you saw how close that was to being out of range. If he had just pushed him back and kept pressure on him, then Froggen would not have been able to do that.
So, there's some more 100% kill participation from the mid lane as we start this one off. Froggen keeping those numbers up as always. And it looks like Crumbs heads back to the jungle here. His ult down, it could be coming up quite soon, but they're looking to repair what just happened, get the lanes pushed. And Seraph actually didn't have to TP back to lane, so that's still an option for them if any objectives come to light soon.
Yeah, and Seraph has TP advantage right now over KFO, who
That's true, his is down.
And Seraph, you expect him to use this. Seraph, since we're talking about so much kill participation, he's actually #1 for top laners at 79.4%.
It wasn't always like that.
Yes, when he was in Challenger, he's actually the 3rd lowest in the entire league, counting substitutions. So out of all starters, he was lowest at 53%. So Seraph in Challenger, very different from Seraph in LCS.
It's the LCS stage, lights a fire under him. He really does make plays and has made big strides for Renegades in his time on the team.
Crumbs
9.5 minutes in.
hang out on the side.
Little love down there.
They know where Hard is, so Crumbs is going to go over the wall. They do spot him with a pink ward. And there he goes to knock Keith.
Oh! Flash over. They're still going very hard for this one. They shouldn't have to use too much after that. Keith goes down, and Renegades are setting it up. They're for sure going to grip.
That was a great barrel by Crumbs from behind the turret. There's a pink ward there, so he knew he had to make the move immediately, or else he was going to get collapsed on. Ninja was a little far up, and he was able to spot Hard, so he knew there was no counter jungle, and he also saw Big use an ability, so Morgana was there, no chance of anybody reinforcing Keith.
Renegades now able to drop another turret, possibly. The wave is just on the other side, so they might have to step away for a second, but this should eventually fall. Looking at how fast they're taking these turrets down, Fox has to answer with more than just kills soon. That could have been a good one to actually get the mid turret down, but Renegades dodging sonic waves, dodging hooks are just left and right, dodging everything.
And this is going to be Renegades getting their 2nd turret of the game before Fox even take one. Hard running down the lane, trying to look for a pick.
This could be a good curtain call if it's up. They locked on Hakuo, but they're looking for the finalizing kill on the curtain call. Adding the DPS now, Hard in range. Who do they connect Sonic Wave on? Looks like Crumbs has it. They don't want to go in. Double TP. Will it be canceled? It is not. And there's the Wild Growth coming in. It's actually Seraph down immediately as he puts that off. And KFO doesn't seem like he can get out of the minions, has to flash in time. What a back and forth of dodging skill shots, staying alive with a sliver of health. And here comes Froggen, looking to finalize at least one more. Flash and barrier are up. Lucent Singularity, not the one to get the kill. It's going to be Keith actually picks it up as well as Ninja, getting that retribution kill for his teammate. And finally, this one might fizzle out. Spooky Ghost is there, light binding, not in range. Lucent Singularity just misses the slow as well.
And that fight back and forth started off with Big forcing the engage with his flash. Knew that there weren't flashes available on Renegades because they previously dove Keith. Freeze, flashes away. Hakuo gets bound. Should have gone down a little bit earlier than this. Hard misses the Q. And Keith actually misses his well. Ultimate comes out. Keith has to stop it. But then Seraph comes through and immediately gets blown up with the crit there from Jin. So Keith is reloading and Froggen.
Oh, prismatic barrier. It's only going to be one more barrel. The hook in, it pulls him closer though, but it's just enough. Once again, they come up with the kill. Froggen gets out safely, and Crumbs goes down, pushing himself to the limit.
And Crumbs, oh man, with the chase, blows his flash.
Yeah.
And not able to pick up Froggen there. Froggen does have to use both summoner spells, but that's going to be Fox only 600 gold behind with 2 turrets down as a disadvantage here.
Man, this game went quick. They're 12 minutes in, and now they are fighting in just about every lane, in and out of replays. These guys are bloodthirsty this time around.
Yeah, it's end of the season, Riv.
Yeah.
So
go for broke.
It's do or die. You have to go in. Sees Froggen, throws him back.
Good cast.
Nice pillar as well.
Cleanse for Ninja is off as well, so we'll see that if it comes into play.
Ninja doesn't have the mana for a Valkyrie, I believe, to actually continue chasing. Not sure if it was off a cooldown, but regardless, he didn't actually have the resources.
KFO being there was the huge factor. If he had not, that chase would have been, oh, we may not have got him, or we'll walk out.
Yeah.
That turned for the bad.
The lockup there, stopping him from pursuing. That's going to be Rift Herald going over to... Oh, it went over to Crumbs, but...
Look at this. Already, by Big kind of showing that he felt okay to clear that pink ward, you can see how sure these guys feel. They're just like, I'm going to walk up in your face and clear this pink ward. That probably means I have the cavalry right behind me, and it did. They pushed Renegades off of that middle area. Still have not been able to get anything off of these kills, though. They're looking to drop some of these turrets, one of these turrets on the side of Echo Fox here. They're getting some kills, but not pushing forward after.
Echo Fox would be ahead if they had equal turrets, but of course Renegades got the better of the lane swap, and then were able to force down the bot turret.
I guess, you know, Renegades has been making all those fights happen at Fox's turret, so it's always Echo Fox in defense. Number one, though. Well, blow! Don't look at explosions. Walk away from that. KFO coming up on the bot lane. Top's going to get pressure, so it looks like Fox is starting to round out the map now, and they'll get those turrets down. Just waiting for the right moment.
Yep, now they have the gold advantage. And you can see it's because of basically everything that's happening around the map with kills. Because the CS in the bot lane, not really favoring them. 20 CS up for Freeze. Of course, Sivir is a big wave clear bot, and he's about to catch even more. But Fox, they're going to try to stop that. Hard, 100% kill participation, looking for even more kills. Crumbs coming up for the top lane, though. It's just going to be stopped.
Essence Reaver already built up for Freeze, so he can get the crits in. He can get good clears in with that damage. Quickly stopping Echo Fox in their tracks as they try to make it up to the turret. A little bit of pressure, too. Kind of false pressure. Getting Keith off of the lane. Very nicely done by Renegades. Pressure now towards the mid. Fox is trying to kind of give him multiple things to think about here. Put a lot on the plate. See which one they choose. Renegades is doing pretty good here at stalling out Echo Fox.
Yeah, and you can see where all of Echo Fox's wards are centralized around this left side of the mid, making sure that they have protection on Froggen, who's playing to this side. And that they have full vision of Renegades in the rotation back and forth. KFO does have to go bottom, clear that wave out. Sivir shoving top wave, so decent amount of CS will fall into the hands of Fox soon, unless dives happen. If Renegades go top immediately, they might be able to catch Jhin. Morgana will be able to reinforce, but Keith has to back up.
That's a good ward by Keith. Figures out what's happening. You can already see the movement from Froggen. Seraph trying to cut off and steal a bit of jungle. But you can see Renegade's main focus here, 4 or 5 wards on this top side, looking to completely clear it out and get a pick.
Oh, it might be a dive. Froggen smells it coming.
It just walks right out. It's like, Freeze, why did you have to scream like that? We were coming from the side. Somehow she heard you. So Froggen, simple walk out.
Give it away.
Wow! We're coming in.
I want to need a Sivir skin for Riv.
Special ops Sivir, where she's like, shh, and you just start running forward really fast. Where will they go from here? Crumbs down towards the bot side. Renegades has back to take a breather. Core items, Triforce. We saw the Essence Reaver finished up. Rod of Ages, 2 charges for Seraph, so he's gotten that recently. Will make him a bit bigger in these fights.
Yeah. Package for Ninja.
That's right.
Picked it up, possibly looking for a play. Mid lane turret is actually ripe for the taking here. It's about 1/4 or 1/3 HP. So Fox may lose that 3rd turret of the game. And the top turret for Renegades, about half HP. So there's some turrets here that are primed if a siege does happen in that area. But I expect Renegades to play around mid for a little bit here during the package duration, possibly getting this turret down.
Same.
It's always hard, though, to siege on a Lux.
That's actually, I was just going to bring that up. I was saying, looking at the way Echo Fox made this composition big. Not in the spot he wanted to be, but actually just walks out. A second member of Fox walking out of a big engage from Renegades. And that's what I was going to bring up, is this team has those bindings. They have a Nautilus. They have more bindings from Morgana, even Keith's Jhin, that if you dive these guys, you're locked in place pretty much until the turret kills you.
Exactly. And Renegade's team isn't really built for diving, right? They have double AD carry. You have disengage with your 3 other members aside from the double ADs. And, oh, interrupt there. Nice pillar.
Crumb's going in hard. Can they finalize Fox? The damage actually from Ninja, a bit split here on 3 members of the team, but he's done almost all of their health bars. This should be a good fight for Renegades into finalizing on that mid turret. Crumb's solo now with hard. He's not going to be able to get too much damage on him, which brings Renegades back to the fight. Freeze is in the mid lane trying to get this cleared up. They're not really participating to keep going, so back and forth with nobody going down. Ultimates used on both sides, though.
That was a lot used by Fox, though. If you look at the summoner spells of their bottom lane, Big had to use his 2 to get away from the package. Keith used his, Hard used his flash, Crumbs used his flash, but Freeze didn't use his, and Hakuo didn't use his. And there's a dragon up right now. You can pick a fight, you can get this Rift Herald, and Renegades have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to that. Some KFO around the corner, though. They're just going to collapse on KFO. He's got to get out of there.
I was wondering what he was doing. He should be able to anchor toss himself out. He gets that dredge line. He is safe. Froggen looking to give him any assistance. And this is one of those games where Froggen can continue to farm Lux as a champion that will wipe out this team on the other side. Maybe Crumbs can take a full spell reel with Hakuo. But if Seraph isn't there to save somebody, Froggen can start zeroing people out soon.
Yeah, and that's why we're seeing the second item, Maw, for Ninja here.
Yep.
He's got the Hex Drinker and he'll be on his way to that item since it's so powerful against mages. I expect Freeze to eventually build one and possibly a QSS, maybe even both, because Froggen's just a big part of the damage here for Fox and a big part of the siege potential.
We saw Hard having that triple buff start, but the early turret damage on the top by Renegades getting there sooner, stopping the kind of lane swap in its tracks. They really got an upper hand onto Fox. They've been pushing it. Fox, however, has been holding off pretty strong. This is one of the few times we've actually seen them engaging on a turret, but it's exactly what happens. Freeze, Ninja, either one of them there, and Fox cannot spend very long in that area. They're going to have to get something, maybe a dragon fight where they catch somebody off, a binding that Big hits in one of these rotations.
Yeah.
Right now, Renegades can put a few members at the turret, and Fox can't get anywhere.
Fox, they'll be able to siege very well, though, with the bindings. If somebody's under turret, if one of your bindings lands, you're pretty much going to kill that person, whether it's Jin binding, or you're able to hook them in afterwards, maybe even just lay down Froggen's damage, because there's a lot of pick potential here. But in order to pick without forcing the enemy underneath their turret, you have to get vision control. So I'm expecting more pink wards from Fox, set up in areas that have a lot of rotations pass by them. But right now, this mid lane turret seems to be the big trouble here for Fox. And Renegades, they want to knock down that mid lane turret. It's very close to going down. And with this Trinity Force power spike, Porky, if he's able to make his way up to it, because Froggen's out of mana right now, he could just take this turret now. Also
not easy to protect that turret when you're already being routed inside the jungle just next to it. So this minion wave comes up, as well as Freeze. They should be able to have it. Froggen, Big, they're going to do their damnedest. They should be able to get here in time.
Crumb's on the side, though, and is he going to go for a move here?
That's what we said. They had that jungle covered already. Crumbs can kind of just show himself, brute force them off the turret. Didn't really even need the engage on that one, and that's what we said. Could be hard. So instead of going under the turret, they avoid it completely and go for the champions.
Yep, the flank there from Crumbs allowed that to happen. They don't even go for the blue buff here, don't even really check it. And Renegades are more interested in getting that turret down, opening up the map, because when you lose that middle turret, it's just so central to the map that now placing wards just becomes so much easier for your team. It does give Fox a little bit more in the chase department. If a fight does start, they're able to run them down lanes, but Renegades have a Sivir, so it's much easier for
already
them.
In the bot lane. Freeze is flying down there.
Yep.
He's had
both side lanes
at least 2.5 waves to himself already. 217 to 152 CS for the AD carries right now. Quite a big difference, and it's going to start surpassing full items for Freeze over Keithson.
Looking at the gold value, he's up 1,400 gold already. They both had Cull, and Freeze actually sold his. Keith's completed, but decided to keep it for the on-hit damage. Not very effective on Jin at all. I'd actually make the argument he's the worst AD carry with life on hit. So I expect him to sell that if he's near completion of an item. Or I would hope he would.
Hope he would. If he's frugal, he'll know what to do. Upgraded Alacrities for Hakuo. Interesting. Quick boot upgrade for him. Double Aegis going to be on the side. Maybe even a banner once he gets his built up. You can already see that locket for Crumbs, keeping everybody safe from Froggen and Big.
But we also see an Aegis here for Hakuo. So either it's a miscommunication or double locket, possibly for the shield to keep their squishy 80 carries, or banner. Yeah. I think banner would actually be a really good buy here, because at that point you rely on Keith, the slow auto-attacking 80 carry with not actually the most fantastic range, pretty much the same as all 80 carries, to take it out. And that puts him in a position that you're able to barrel him in, you're able to catch him. So I think banner would be an intelligent buy here. Of course, the stats on it for a Trundle, not the best, but he can always just ultimate KFO and get free monies.
And look at this. This is Froggen in pick mode now. Rabadon's finished. Spooky Ghosts go out basically every time he has it up. And if there's a chance for a pick, Froggen will probably go through the full spell reel to get that out. As well, you're going to be pushing somebody out of lane, so there's such a low cooldown on Final Spark.
Yeah, and they're looking for the pick potential here on Fox's side. Of course, picking up the Scuttle Crab. Dragon 3 in their sights. Minute and 20 on that one. And Fox well on their way to possibly going for that Dragon 5, you know, Froggen. Long games.
Yeah.
Likes to play those long games. But Renegades, they really want to close this one out. We
haven't even hit the halfway mark yet.
Exactly. Yeah, Renegades 2,000 gold up, and Renegades, they've had so many leads in their entire season, but it's always just been, how do you balloon that lead to a point that's insurmountable for the enemy team? How do you get, or how quickly can you go from 2,000 to 10,000? How much can you leverage that lead? And Renegades has been a team that's failed to do that time and time again. And as we're on the last game of the regular season here, Renegades against Echo Fox, the 7th place team, they want to show that this is a team that also has potential, that if they come back in summer, are able to make it into playoffs with this roster, that they have so much.
Which has definitely turned heads.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The roster that Renegades now sports has easily made an impact on the LCS, and everybody kind of questions what would have happened if, you know, that was the original. See what they can do now. See what they can do if they return after the promotion tournament. Right now, playing very well again with a lead in the early part of the game, but kind of being choked out here by Fox. Fox has now been able to start adding their own bit of pressure, using Spooky Ghost once again when it's up, having all the vision they need to safely push themselves a little bit. Seraph's going to do 10 on the outside.
Binding.
If it's a big committal here, and Renegades can stop this, but keep Fox interested. Seraph has time with the top lane turret. Teleports up if the fight does go wrong. It's going to be Dragon 4. Looks like turret, possibly. KFO's on his way up.
Has to stop Seraph from split pushing here.
Yeah.
Binding.
Yeah, who said Crumbs wouldn't be the guy that Froggen could kill right away. Just does a little bit of damage. And they back off, giving each other a lot of respect on this one. One fight lost either means a turret kind of in either direction here.
No, the top laners are playing this dance now. Shove the wave, pretend like you're going to go do something else. And if you can make it to this fight before the other top laner, you force that top laner's TP, so even after the fight, you have an advantage. We'll see what happens here, because they're fighting over Dragon 3.
Who's got the best ward? I'm looking Renegades is kind of placed up on the top side. It's going to be a Whimsy and a walk-in from the top laners. Dragon goes down. Crumbs grabs after the team. Freeze with just a sliver, and that's going to be a kill from Keith. Hakuo goes down. Big's already fallen to the fight now to Ninja, and there's a flash over the wall. Keith gets the hit. That's going to be the kill going over to Froggen. Still alive. That's a lot of damage to have in the AP mid. Ninja's down, so Renegades is running. Seraph adding utility and slow, so Crumbs can get himself out. KFO with the dredge line. Is it going to count? It does count. There's the lockdown. The flash from Crumbs could be used later, but still Gragas is a slippery big guy. Yeah. Seraph going to just throw a bit more glitter on this one. A good hit by Echo Fox there, a fight they were really looking for all game.
Yeah, but that's with the Dragon going over to Renegades.
That's
and Renegades
true.
still
That
have a
stops the
slight
5.
gold lead here. It's ever so slight, though. See Froggen actually hanging around. She's pretty fast, though.
Angles, because math, almost. Almost hit it. We'll see this fight one more time.
This is too much of a committal onto hard. You can see Freeze runs around, throws out his Q, runs in, auto attacks Keith, and then he gets bound and ultimate. So Freeze actually only got one auto attack off in that entire fight due to the Sivir range and then the split focus. Even when Hard got knocked into him by Gragas, wasn't able to actually follow it up.
Crumbs save hard so hard.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Saved him?
He was in the back of the pit. He got blown out of the pit.
Yeah, he saved hard. Not so much freeze, but
not so much freeze.
Yeah. Well, when there's a Lux on the team and you pop Sivir ultimate, and it was the split call there.
Right.
Gragas, Crumbs wanted to stop Dragon 3. The rest of the team was like, well, we need to charge the Lux. We need to get the Lux, make sure that Froggen can't do anything else in this fight. Because look at this backline. It's a Lux and a Jhin. They do so much damage when left unchecked, and we saw it in that fight.
And they have enough bindings in frontline to make that happen. Leave those players untouched. What is he at right now? Can check final spark. 52-second cooldown. So pretty good. Still looking for one more level on that. Level 15 for him.
He's not rocking too much CDR either.
Right, exactly.
He's only at 20%.
Which I actually enjoy. Yeah. I do enjoy being able to pot people when it comes up, as opposed to kind of like continuing the fights.
Yeah, and that's 20% with blue buff, so he doesn't have any in his runes.
Right.
He's just running the spell.
I approve. And not that it matters.
No Ionian boots, so.
Right.
Wasn't really concerned about the cooldown, was mostly concerned with the burst, and it showed up big in that fight. Able to take out freeze. And getting a lot of Renegades extremely low.
So it is a double locket that Hakuo went with. We have the double Aegis of the Legion.
Yeah, I understand it because the shields are still very important for your squishy composition.
And Crumbs and Hakuo will be big.
Yeah.
As they stand next to each other. Is the package also
Package is up?
Grab? Yep.
No, it's not. It's not grabbed.
Not
it's
grabbed,
up, though. It's in the base, sitting there. Usually you want to back before you engage, but that's not going to happen here, as Freeze hasn't popped ulti. He's just sped up. There's the crit.
There's a few crits, yeah. See the damage come in. A very nice black shield actually onto Froggen for the spell immune on the explosive cast. Ultimate use there. Remember, Crumbs flashes down. That could have been a very big binding from Big. Looks like they will back off once again. Fox playing the Death Brush situation now. We just saw him attempt it in mid, and they're actually getting a few more tags on. Hakuo gets hit. The curtain has been called down, and it looks like the damage is only going to continue the fight. Keep Echo Fox interested. Renegades isn't dying from that.
Yep, this is all about getting a pick on a priority member, some type of damage dealer. These tanks aren't going to go down anytime soon. Oh, Crumbs might, though.
Crumbs. He gets deleted. That's the final spark. Now they're on to Ninja. That's the sated Hex Drinker. Ninja gets the wild growth from Seraph as he just comes around the corner. A lot used to get out of that by Renegades, however.
And that's going to be Fox walking up to the left. They are pinging onto the Baron, but their health bars are in the middle range right now, and there is a package for Ninja, so he picks it up. And he can just rush back in there. Doing a Baron would be incredibly dangerous.
A little bit. Jhin not having as much Baron damage as he would really want to crush one down like a Vayne with a Blade of the Rune King.
Yeah, they're just going to bait this and back.
Good.
Which you would hope, but they call not overly aggressive Ninja with the package. Renegades don't have vision though, so they're pinging it out. Seraph has TP, so he could always reinforce, but based on the vision, Ninja does have to check. And it is risky. So.
Much different game for Seraph here. Usually when we see him have a champion that controls the side lanes, he dictates a lot more. And what we're actually seeing is him whimsying in from the sides, that utility to get to the fight. And we saw just at the last second, Ninja was saved there with a wild growth. So a little discombobulated in the fights, but that's just because Echo Fox keeps pressing buttons at the right time and really catching Renegades out of position. 9-4 as this one continues. 3-0-4. Froggen in the mid lane on that Lux, still blowing people up. Straight to the Void Staff purchase after that, so he is getting pretty deadly. Still in the lead though. Renegades holding that gold.
Just barely though. Yep. Renegades, they've been all right at holding these gold leads. A lot of it is the CS of Freeze, just picking up side waves over Keith, being able to quickly farm them with his Ricochet. But as he approaches...
The horizon is upon us.
Exactly. As he approaches the IE Zeal item Essence Reaver combo, gets
1,700.
Gets that 70% crit. Nice. He becomes a monster in these team fights because Sivir, although having 500 range, the Ricochet is going to increase your range to basically however long that line is. Infinite bounces there. So Freeze, if he's able to hit frontliners, you can focus a tank as Sivir and still do damage to the back line. And that's the beauty of this pick. That he doesn't have to actually get near Froggen if the bounces allow for it.
You're just an enabler. Gotta watch out how much that comes into play.
Yeah, sometimes your tanks are helping.
too much.
Seraph on the other side, again, split pushing. Constantly trying to apply pressure here.
Yeah. This is where it comes into play a little bit more, obviously. The position on the map is quite a bit better. Seraph can slow anybody that comes to him. I mean, KFO is not going to kill him. It might have to be Froggen that pays respects to this. And the rest of the team is actually going to join him. A lot of damage on this turret. It's going to be finalized.
Yeah, that
they're
was,
getting the Echo Fox rotation out of that.
Well, that was Sivir ultimate to get there faster.
Right.
Freeze pops Sivir ultimate and speeds up his team to get there just a little bit sooner than Echo Fox. So actually a great use of the ultimate there from Sivir.
If they know these fights aren't going their way, you got to use the utility in another. And that one opens up the map just a little bit more. It's been a while since Renegades actually was able to get themselves up onto Echo Fox's side. But it's all about just kind of waiting. Waiting out when they can get Froggen in the wrong spot. And they get that wave clear out of the way. 305 to 319 in that mid lane. Another needlessly large rod for Froggen. We're looking at that Zanya's Hourglass coming in for him. Or Ludens.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Damage, damage, damage.
Yeah, Ludens would actually put him at the break point where his E would clear an entire wave. And give him extra burst damage onto these squishy members of Renegades. Yeah, see, Ludens would help him out there. That would have done it.
Look at Hard. Hard's like, you get one, I'll kick one back. Let the spooky go south.
He's so ready. 9 assists. He's ready for anything.
Yeah, 9 assists. It's actually a fantastic score for the jungler.
Hard has been doing work this game.
Got that 3 buff start. Things slowed down, but it seems like Echo Fox has been able to kind of right the ship here. Still down in gold, making Renegades still respect the composition that Echo Fox brought to the table because of how they've been using it.
Yeah, it's a strange 1-3-1 from Renegades because the Sivir just runs into a side lane, clears it out immediately. Fox, they'll try to push middle in the meantime before they have to answer the side waves. And then Ninja just clears it out. Seraph is on the side wave. And then we've seen over and over again that Fox have both their top lane and bottom lane shoved into their tier 2s when something is going on mid lane that Renegades are just stopping from happening. So nothing's really being forced when Sivir's on the bottom side of the map. You aren't seeing anybody go for Baron, go for vision control or picks. So Fox aren't really forcing the issue when they see a non-TP member in a side lane.
Right. Note the 80 carry builds, another BF sword for Keith, Caulfield's, and a scepter in there for a freeze. Sivir.
Ooh, Void Staff for Ninja. So Freak would be happy because most of Porky's damage is magical.
Gotta go
and
fast! Oh! Keith just dodging out. Actually got his final shot off there to get the speed in.
I actually think he just crit normally. You don't have to get that final shot.
Was it the crit?
Yeah, I think it was just
a crit.
he
had full bullets. You're right. So it was just a crit.
Yeah, he just crit.
I thought it was his final. Would have been cooler. It's like, I gotta get the last one.
Lucky crit there, but of course he does have 50% crit, so just throw out 2 shots. Chances are. It's actually, I guess, a little bit higher when it's one of your 3 shots because the last one's guaranteed to crit.
See what you're saying?
Yeah.
Coming up on 37 minutes. Now we're at the halfway point.
Yeah, oh my god.
Death's Dance. Free.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Death's Dance, the physical damage done. It's not just straight lifesteal, so he'll vamp off of his Q, all of the ricochets.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot. Of course, it does on AoE abilities have a little bit of diminishing returns on it, so.
I would sure hope so.
Yeah, area effect spell's not as effective for the Vamp of Death.
We already gave it crit.
But it does stop him from getting blown up by Froggen. So some of that damage is going to be converted over, and he'll have a bleed afterwards. So against Burst Mages, it's definitely a great pickup here. Freeze last item, possibly Hex Drinker when I see that longsword come in. Could be a Giant Slayer into actually getting a penetration item or KFO and Hard. And Fox,
wow.
They're playing, despite being in 7th place, they are playing their hearts out right now.
Look at the security that Fox just put up here.
Seraph! You gotta block for him!
2. Oh, he's outside.
Oh, he went back in!
Stage right.
He went back in!
He went back in! The curtain was called, man. Stay off the stage! It's going to be Crumbs going down now. This fight happening from downtown. Keith just getting in range. He's got the double. Does he get a triple here as he enters the fight? No, Froggen's going to pick that one up. But the amount of vision and the blossoms they had put down, the grenades coming in from Jin, I don't know why they walked in there.
Exactly. This is how you're supposed to set this up as Fox. You have so much pick potential, and when you are able to throw down so many captive audiences around the pit, the setup is perfect. They're slow. You're able to get these skill shots off much easier.
Where they headed?
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. The dragon is up right now.
Yeah, they're going to dragon.
So they're just going to pick that up. Echo Fox, though, pick up Baron and go to a almost 2,000 gold lead here. Woo! This Seraph gets picked. Ulti. W.
Look
rooted,
at the synergy
speed it
between
out.
the abilities. Where's he go?
They're blocking, and then he loops back in.
1,500 damages us.
Yeah, he was able to see him with the ward on the right side, and he was just like, oh, I guess he went back in, even though he was completely safe to continue running to the right. Yep, another bind, another pickup there. And Renegades now playing from a deficit here. They do have 3 dragons, though. They've overtaken Fox and got the last 3 dragons when Fox was on 2. So Fox have had to adjust their game plan a little bit.
Yeah.
And now the wave clear from Sivir has to deal with all of these powered up minions. It's still quite effective, though.
Don't worry, guys. I got it. 415 CS. But then you look at Keith, 7-1-3.
Yeah, Keith has the kills.
That feel when you're the AD carry getting a lot of CS, where the other guy just picked up a plethora of kills. Oh.
He's got champion score. It's a little bit different. Each kill is about 20 CS.
This is true.
So he's pretty much at.
All right, Crumbs. All right, Crumbs. They take down big. Crumbs comes flying in from the side. Like you said, the big guy is sneaky. He can get himself into some good situations. KFO, Fossbomb keeps a bit of vision towards the back line still. But Renegades knows they're still baroned up. There's going to be minions coming in. Don't push ourselves too hard. Mikhail's Crucible finished up for Hakuo. He can give his team a bit more assist and prevent what we just saw at the Baron Pit, hopefully for next time. Spirit Visage for Crumbs. Fox backing now. Looks like they're going to be back out right as rain here with this Baron buff. Basically, all 4 out of 5 members. That's right, Big went down.
Yeah, Big ended up getting killed there. Crumbs has actually been pretty on point with a lot of his tasks this game.
Yep.
I'm interested in what this last item from Freeze is going to be, because we see Thornmail, Randuin's, and Sunfire Cape for KFO, and that last item is most likely another half armor item in the Zerat portal. So KFO is looking at 200, no, I guess 300 armor right now since he hit level 18. And then he's gonna get even more, 60 more. So he'll be at 360. Hopefully Freeze. There it is. Okay, so it's the Giant Slayer, so he is going to go for the penetration item and the Lord Dominic's regards and try to just take down KFO, because KFO is pretty much going to be the target that he's able to hit. Oh, and
hard. Somebody give him a jump. There he's
counts.
He's got a ward. Wow, Renegades really wanted that fight. They're still going to push forward. A moment that they have Echo Fox out of position means damage on this turret, and it may mean just enough. Crumbs gets the first few tanks in, so Freeze can't get those last auto attacks on. So a split-second decision there, working out for Renegades to open up the map a little bit more. Still repairing a lot of what's happened.
Power play ends negative 300 gold there, and Renegades actually come back
Yep.
and take a lead despite
that
Fox
Baron.
picking up the Baron. A lot of that is just off of shoving waves on the side, and you can see Ninja picking up the top wave, not wasting any time. He's up on CS on Froggen. If this game ends up being Echo Fox losing their CS records to Renegades, you were right about the halfway point.
We'll see what happens. Froggen almost did choose Anivia, but he's got the Lux. There it is. Flies through. They're onto Big. They know that could be the 0 out immediately, but nothing really connects for Ninja. The binding onto Crumbs, so he cannot connect the explosive cast. Big stays alive on this one, and the home guards are going to bring him out nice and quick. But Renegades, 2 times in a row now, have used the Silver Ultimate for a brute force strategy, and they have been able to get Echo Fox a little discombobulated. Now onto the inhibitor turret. Will it be the first one of the game?
And the season, the last game for Renegades, is going to be a lot like their first. Let's see here.
One for Ninja. He Valkyrie's out. It's still going to go back. They got to watch the splash on it. The slows still keeping Renegades in a hittable position. Ninja just got out of that channel. It's going to be the binding missing Hakuo as they continue to try and initiate this fight, and they may be going a little too hard on the side of Echo Fox. Renegades has kited this one out. It's up again. Time for On the Hunt to come back up. Freeze is in the front, and Freeze is dealing the DPS. He's going to keep going under the turret. Freeze is a madman, and Freeze is still alive on the dive. That's the inhibitor turret, and Renegade puts the pedal to the metal and are in Echo Fox's base.
It's just Froggen alive, and there's 30 seconds on Big, but there's 60 seconds on the Keith, their other damage dealer here. Renegades, Freeze, he doesn't actually have to worry too much about Froggen. With his Death's Dance, he's recovering so much HP here off of these minion waves.
Hakuo with the first tank, no minions yet in range to lower those turrets. It's going to be very hard to take down. Ninja trying to play the poke game.
This might be game for Renegades.
Fountain. This is going to be the hit as Renegades going to pull out the first win of the day here in Week 9, Day 2. They're onto the Nexus, and after Tooth and Nail, Renegades come back 9-12, 43 minutes in. Renegades take down Echo Fox.
4 wins in their last 5 games. They had 1 win coming into Week 7 at the end of Week 9. They are gunning for 8th place, and they could have a tiebreaker at the end of the day for that position. Everything looked like this team was going to be 10th place, and then the roster shake up there.
Wow.
Getting Seraph, somebody who can play utility and be another threat and knows side wave manipulation, comes up huge for them, but Ninja as well takes pressure off of Freeze and allows him to perform. And this squad,
He really did.
They look really good.
It's kind of that flying under the radar. You saw Ninja getting bigger, Ninja doing damage, and then Freeze came out from under the wing where he was kind of being brought up. And we saw that last play. Everybody stepped up as well, just making executive decisions. Every time that's up, we go.
Yeah, and the season for Renegades, the last game of the regular season, is a lot like their first game of the regular season. Remember, when they had Callista Alistar, and they just kept ulting. Freeze kept pulling in Remy and throwing her out and trying to find that engage. Same thing here. Sivir ulti over and over and over again, looking for the engage. And hey, they won their first game of the split when they attempted to do that and kept forcing engages.
It's not really a play style we see all too often. It used to be an LMQ play style, right? The fight happens. Can we fight again? Can we get back up and go through the batting order? Can we make it so they don't have time to recuperate and figure out what we're doing? And that's what they were allowed to do. They kept that fight going. We saw 2 on the hunts from Freeze's Sivir in that fight. That's how long they kept the pressure going, one after the other.
The Essence Reaver giving him that cooldown reduction.
Right.
But a big part of how that fight went their way is Hakuho used his ultimate onto KFO at one of the best times, because previously it was always I used it from afar just to make sure that I didn't die from all of this poke.
Right.
This one was KFO getting knocked into the team, and he had no resistances on him, and they were all shredded. So he immediately went down, and then they were able to charge the back line, and there was nothing to protect Fox at that point. And some fun things about this game.
Fun at all.
I was looking at the damage dealt, and of course, Freeze did the most in the game at, Froggen and Freeze did the most.
Yeah.
Froggen is only 300 ahead of Freeze at 30K. What? But Seraph did 2,500 damage that game as Lulu. He was all utility and side wave shove.
That's not what we usually see from him.
Yeah, exactly. He's usually doing a lot of damage, but the side wave is something that he's actually been known for.
Yeah.
He's ended games in Challenger just by backdooring. When his team is fighting 4v5, he's like, oh, wait, I'm getting turrets for you guys. It's okay.
Right.
Don't die. But he didn't have to rely on that. He played Lulu supportive of Freeze, which is something that I remember when he would play that, it was always, why isn't he playing a damage dealer? Why isn't he playing something he can carry on? Well, when he's empowering Freeze, it works out.
Yeah, a little crazy as Sivir's doing as much as Lux in that game, right? Tanks in front, bounce the blades around, and just wipe everybody out. We saw it happen multiple times. What a game by Renegades. Right now we're going to send it down to Freak on stage with Renegades Jungler.
Hey. All right, sorry about that. So we are here, of course, I am with Crumbs, and I'm here to talk to you about that really kind of great game you guys played to finish out the regular season here. Talk to me coming into this one, because you've now won 4 of your last 5 games, and just talk to me about what it's been like as Renegades coming into this last push here to get out of 10th.
Well, especially against Echo Fox, we knew that their match actually had no meaning in their standing, so we thought that maybe they were going to be picking a lot of fun stuff. We saw them practicing Heimerdinger and Vladimir, like, oh boy, they're going to just whip out the weirdest stuff. How are we going to deal with it? And they ended up just playing normal, which is great because that's really what I would have preferred them to do, just so that we get a little bit more practice. But getting the wins is just a little bit more of momentum and more stage practice as a new squad. And I mean, in my point of view, I played pretty poorly. I think we did the macro game well. I was told we did the macro game well, but hopefully that's enough to overshadow the picks that we kept giving them over and over and over.
Sure, so a few small mistakes from you guys, but overall, you've been still climbing up very steadily here. Out of 10th now, you're either going to be tie-breaking for 8th or maybe just sitting in 9th, maybe tie-breaking for 9th based on how the rest of the games go. Tell me what this means to you guys, though you are improving, getting a better seed into the promotion relegation tournament.
Well, the improvement for us is just making sure that we can be ready for the promotion, and hopefully, if we get out of that, it's like a second lease at life. We get another chance at a split and see how well we can do, and really, really give it our all, because I don't think we gave it our all the first time around, and then this time, if it happens that we can make it back, then I'm sure we'll do a lot better.
So you said you're going to do a lot better. How good are you going to be? Seraph said last week we're the number 2 team in NA. Then he kind of couched that a little bit when we talked to him yesterday. How good is Renegades now?
I wouldn't say a standing. I'd say that if we get it back, we'd probably be like the hardest working team, to be honest. I don't know about the standings, but we'd be the ones putting more effort than anybody else. And we've been doing triple scrim blocks for like 3 weeks nonstop. It's brutal. It's like literally every single hour of the day you got practice, and maybe you have 30 minutes of break time combined between every single set, and it's a lot of practice, and we're all willing to do it. And so I can't promise the standings, but I promise that we will be working very hard instead.
Well, Crumbs, the hard work has paid off for you guys. 4-1 in your last 5. Congratulations on the win. We will see you maybe in a tiebreak at the end of the day. We will see you in the promotion relegation tournament. Congrats on the win. We'll see you later. Let's start down to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. Before we get into the game, we want to take another look at that final fight, the replay. Pull this up because Renegades on the back foot, kiting it out pretty properly. Jat, walk me through this.
Game-deciding fight, actually, and it looked like Echo Fox was going to get a nice pick out here because they'd pushed Renegades out of the base and they'd kind of bought themselves some time, and this was the biggest mistake when they decided to continue chasing with Sivir still up.
Yeah, look how spread out Fox is right now. They still have Keith trying to get around Trundle pillars. Keith still hasn't gotten a single auto off, and they already took out the front line.
Good Grog assault there on the backside.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
Crumbs as well.
And then once you're against the Sivir team with Lulu, there's so much speed ups to chase you back down, and they, after the front line's gone, they can chase down everyone.
Yeah, and it's obviously 43 minutes in, so those 80 carries can two-shot each other. It was just a really sloppy chase through. Maybe they thought the Valkyrie to Final Spark from Lux, maybe it looked like they killed them and they thought they had Corki down or something, but if not, there wasn't a very good reason to do that engage, because that was still an even gold game up until that fight, which was a pretty poor choice by Fox to go in, but Renegades ultimately deserved the win there.
Yeah, their team was spread out over about 2 screens worth of Keith trying to walk around pillars.
Right. Ultimately, so then let's talk about what this means, right? Because Renegades picking up yet another win with this roster. So their record with their current roster is pretty phenomenal. But moving towards a tiebreaker and a possible 8th place finish, considering that they were 10th just 2 weeks ago. I mean, you saw it on Crumb's face. He's definitely happy to have seen the improvement. You can tell that the winning is fueling them towards their journey back into the LCS. On the side of Fox, they're going to end up in 7th place, but I actually think that, you pointed to it, Jat, that was one mistake that kind of was the picture of the whole game. Fox had multiple misplays and miscalculations throughout the game that didn't necessarily speak to a team that would finish above Renegades in the standings.
Yeah, even in the lane swap, there were a couple weird choices where they did kind of make faults. Giving up an extra turret for a Rift Herald, not optimal, giving over a lot of extra minion waves, but then they turn it around with Froggen with a max range snipe on his Lux laser to grab first blood, make up like half of that gold difference.
Yeah, and Echo Fox, it's kind of the story of their season when they do play some of these games. They aren't playing the cleanest games. They give up a lot in lane swaps, but KFO, Froggen, and Keith are just so good at farming that they can kind of make a bad strategic decision and then just last hit minions at a higher percentage than you and keep the gold pretty close.
Right, okay, so they end up being even in gold, maybe being able to take a late-game team fight, and that's how they come away with the victories. Running back through the tiebreak scenarios, Kobe, your beloved 10
Step one is complete.
of the 10-game possibility is still alive. Renegades picking that up. We're going to have Cloud9 versus Team Liquid next. We'll see how that turns out. I think the big one that we'd have to look forward to then is the Dignitas upset over CLG, which is required to make this happen. But that's what makes that bottom side of the standings so exciting, because with the Dignitas win, that keeps Renegades and Dignitas tied.
Yeah.
And that will really shake up, the bottom of the standings. And I think getting to see all those teams play again would give us a much better understanding of how they will perform in the promotion tournament come time.
It will be a pretty clear picture as far as going to the promotion tournament. And it's kind of a strange joy watching the 8th, 9th, and 10th place team just battle it out for those important seeds at the end.
Yeah, I mean, the games are definitely long, and you get to see them battle it out for a while.
I get to see them for a long time.
Alrighty, well, I think that's going to do it for game 1 of the day. Stick around, because when we come back, we'll see if Cloud9 can take control of second place, or if Liquid will play spoiler. And a few minutes ago, we saw them backstage getting in the zone for the game ahead. So don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back.